Let's look at the concept of private variables in Python. Now, for example, now here we have a class called as test. Now, until now, while creating the init function, we were using the variable name and we're giving some value to it. And we could have accessed this variable from the object directly with the dot operator. Now, for example, here we have x is equal to 10 and I could print the object with obj1.x where as the print value. I could modify it by obj1.x is equal to 20 and I print it again. The value would have got updated. So let me just show what we are doing here. So I execute this code. I have when I create the object, the value of x is 10. I print it here so that where 10 is available here. And then I update the value and then I print it again. The 20 is printed here. The access to this variable is being done directly by the object name dot the variable name. Fine. So these variables are not private, as in they are publicly available to the objects. Right? Outside the class, they can be accessed directly. Now, in the context of object-oriented programming, this is generally discouraged in the sense that it is always recommended that the access to the variables should be through methods. That is, these variables should not be modified or accessed directly, but they should be accessed by the use of methods to either read the value or write into the value or write into the variable. So to make the variable such that outside the class they are not accessible, such variables are called as private variables. That means they are private for the class, but they are not available outside the class. So any variable which is prefixed by two underscores. So the variable name y with two underscores before it becomes a private variable. So this variable underscore underscore y will not be accessible once you get out of this class. That means now I create an object test and I try to print this value y. I'm just trying to print obj1.y and let me print obj1.x also. X does not have underscore behind it, so it will print it. Now let me run it in a debug mode step by step. So object gets created here on it, and then I print the x value. The x gets printed. When I try to print the value of y, it tells us that test object has no attribute by the name underscore underscore y, meaning it is not able to access this value. Right? The reason being this variable has been prefixed with these two underscores, and that indicates to Python that this variable is a private variable, so it cannot be accessed outside the class. So how do you access this? How do I get to see what is the value inside this variable y? It has to be done by a method inside the class only. Fine. So I have a method here called as show values. Now here I can print self dot x, which is the variable x value. I can print the self dot underscore underscore y value, which is the value of y that gets printed. So instead of printing obj1 directly, I can say obj1 dot show values, right? So now if I run this code, stop debugging, I'll run the code directly. So I can see it printed the value 10 here of this 10, and then it printed the value of 10 and 20. That is 10 from here and 10 from here and 20 from here. So the private variable was accessed by a method. So what would generally be done is you for each of these variables you can have a separate get and set methods. I can say get x, and I can return it. I can have get y and return the value, right? So Now, whenever I want to get these values, I can simply call obj1 dot get the value of x and have a print statement and have a print statement for obj1 dot get y. Alright, so now if we execute this, can have self here. So you can see you're able to print both the values 10 and 20. Right, so that's how you access the private variables. Right, thank you.